So with Chirp, you can import from a variety of data sources, including online directories, another radio, whether it's the same brand or not, as long as Chirp's compatible with it, or you can manually type entries. Importing is by far and away the easiest way to do it. After you've imported the data, typing in one or two additional entries or making a few changes is no big deal. But you don't want to have to type them all in. It's time consuming and you can make a lot of errors. So this video is going to show you how to import data. Once you've learned how to import data, editing it's pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to cover that. If there's a call for it, I'll cover that in another video later. Two of the most common errors that you have with Chirp are COM port selections and driver issues. Now the COM port selection, you just need to know which COM port you're in, and I have a video up on that. There's a link when you get to that part of this video that will take you to that video if you have an issue. The driver issues is usually because you've got a counterfeit chip from China, but there's a simple solution. You roll back the driver to version 3.2.0.0 and they'll all work. So if you have that issue, go to the video for the driver and roll back your driver. So if you're watching this video just to see what Chirp's like and how it works, great. But if you want to use this as a step-by-step guide to programming with Chirp and getting you through the first time you use it, then you need to have downloaded Chirp. So with that, let's move on. Have you downloaded Chirp? If not, come back to this video after you've downloaded and installed the program. Okay, you've downloaded and installed Chirp. Now you need to open the file. So find the icon on your desktop. Mine is down here pinned to the taskbar, but yours will probably be up in the desktop somewhere. So find that and click on it. Chirp will open up. So if you have a Chirp data file already, even if it's for a different radio, you can use that as a data source. So the first thing you do is you come up here and you click File, and you come down, Open, and you come over here and select one of your files. This one is for my TH9800. We'll select it, double click, and it opens up. That's the first method. Chirp includes stock configuration files that provide some data for common frequencies. You can find all of the NOAA weather broadcast frequencies, FRS, GMRS, MERS, VHF marine channels, and much more. So you come up and you click File, slide down to Open Stock Configuration, slide over to the right and select any of these. I'm going to select the NOAA Weather Alert. Click on that, and then you have to come over and open the tab. And you've got all the different NOAA weather channels. The next way you can do it is to import from a data source. So you come up here to File, click on File, click New, and it's going to open up a generic CSV untitled file right here in this tab. So you've got this. Now you're going to click on Radio right here, slide down to Import from Data Source, slide to the right, and I like Repeater Book. A repeater book, if you slide to the right, gives you two choices: a political query or a proximity query. Political query is by state and or county. You can narrow it down to the individual counties, or you can pull the whole state. Proximity is by miles from your location. So I'm going to click on political query right here. It says Oregon, and you can select, if you drop the drop down, you can select any of the states. We're going to leave it with Oregon. And you can select the counties that are in Oregon. So I'm going to leave it with all. And you can select an individual meet a band, or you can select all. I'm going to select all. Come over here and click OK. You'll get a little message come up saying it's preparing it. This little pop-up, you can come through and make choices along this area here. You can tell it to start above or below the current point in your current file that's open. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Come over here, click OK, and it will populate the entire state of Oregon, every repeater that there is for all the bands. The next method is to query a data source. That's basically the same as importing, so I'm not going to actually do a query. But you can do a query without having an open file, and the program will open a new file with the data. And it's the same as doing the import from data. You can also download from another radio. So I'm going to close these. And we're going to import from a radio. So come up to the radio tab, click on that, and then you come down and click on download radio from radio. You're going to select the port, the vendor, and the model. So the port, my choices are only COM3. You may have more than one COM that's available, and you'll need to know which that is. My radio that I'm importing from is a Baofeng, but you can click the list and select from all these other vendors. And the radio I'm importing is a UV5R Tri-Power, which uses the same profile and chirp as the Baofeng BF-F8HP, so that's why I have it selected. However, there are all the other radios that Baofeng makes. You'll notice the UV5R is there. If you select that and you have a Tri-Power model, it won't work because it has to use the Tri-Power, the high-power F8 version, the F8HP. And you can find that information on the front page of the Chirp website. So we're going to use the F8HP, and we're going to click OK. You're going to get a experimental warning come up, and just ignore that. You're going to click yes. However, the first thing you want to do is plug the radio end of the cable into your radio, then plug the USB end of the cable into your computer. Turn your radio on, turn the volume up, and then click yes. Hopefully you'll get this little message right here, clone progress, and the green bar moving across. If you don't, hold on and we'll cover that in a moment. And we've successfully downloaded the radio. So if you didn't get an error, just ignore this screen. But if you did, and it looks something like this, then the first thing to check is your COM port selection, and the second thing is the driver for the chip in the cable. I've got videos for both procedures on my channel, so you can click the link down below. If you had the correct COM port selected, check the driver as well. If you had the wrong COM port selected, only change that and try again. If it still doesn't work, then go to the driver video. And if the link below doesn't work, just go to the listing of my videos and find the two videos for the driver and the COM port on Chirp. Okay, so now we have an image of a radio with data we want to copy to another radio. So we disconnect the first radio and do the same procedure with the radio to be programmed, or the target radio. In this case, I'm going to take the data from the UV5R Tri-Power and upload everything in it to a standard UV5R. So I'm going to repeat exactly what we just did in order to get the target radio image, but I'm not going to talk you through it step by step. So see if you can follow along. Now, since you wouldn't be to this point unless you've sorted out any COM or driver issues, you shouldn't get an error. If you do, you've probably done something out of order. I still do it. If you get an error, just start over. So, now that we've got our UV5R downloaded, let's select that and see what's in there. Channel 1, and we'll click Show Empty, which is a toggle. So there are only two channels listed in there, 0 and 127. Let's try and delete those. And they're now gone. Click on Show Empty to toggle it again, and there's no data in our target radio. So you can now use this image file from the target radio to make changes, insert memories for repeaters, duplex and simplex channels, and then upload the file to the radio. You can make changes while the radio is still attached, or you can turn off the radio, disconnect it, and upload the image later. So I'm going to leave the radio plugged in and turned on. We shouldn't have to reset that. So when we're done with this file, building it, we'll be able to just simply hit radio and upload it. You should note that you need to copy from the data image, which is here, to the target. You can't just upload to a radio, often even if it's the same type of radio. So if I were to take this file and try and upload it to the UV5R, the data file, it would not work. It wouldn't work to upload it to the F8HP if it was a different radio. So we're going to build this data file. Now you can copy just one line, several lines, or all of the lines in the data and paste them into the image you're building, as long as you don't exceed the number of memory locations available in that radio. This one had 127. However, 0 is also an available memory, so there's actually 128. Now the Baofeng BF8HP also has exactly 128 memories. And you'll notice some of these are empty in here. But it goes down to 127 and started at 0. Way up here. To copy one line, click on the loc field, LOC, which is for location, memory location. Click on that and it'll highlight it. Right click, copy, change tabs over to the radio you're going to put it into. Pick a memory channel, any one you want. Highlight the line, right click, and click paste. You'll notice that everything's in there. You should also note that you can use the Windows shortcuts Control-C and Control-V to copy and paste. You don't have to do right click. And that's what I'll do the rest of this video. Now, to copy several lines that are adjacent, go back to the Data tab, click on one that you want. Now you notice that I'm not clicking in the location field. That's because some of these fields you can click in. The frequency is one of them. But location field is safe for if you're beginning. So click in the first one you want, pick another one, hold down the Control key, and click on the line to highlight it. Pick another one. You're still holding the Control key when you hit click. Now we've got Cottage Grove, Harris B, and Sisters. Hit Control-C. Now we're going to come over to the Target Radio tab. Click on that. And I'm going to insert them at memory location 2. Now notice what happens when I hit Control-V. I've got all three, Cottage Grove, Harris B, and Sisters, but they're all next to each other. So keep that in mind. Now, to copy several lines that are adjacent, let's come back to our file, open the tab, click on one. Let's just do 4 channels. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold down the Shift key and click. It's just standard Windows. Hit Control-C, open the tab of the target radio, make sure you have enough memory locations, highlight, and hit Control-V. And those 4 channels have come over. Now I'm going to delete all this stuff that we just put in here by selecting a line above it and a line below it while holding down the Shift key, and simply hit delete, and everything zeros. Now I'm going to copy everything that's in the Baofeng F8 into the UV5R in one shot. You've probably figured out how I'm going to do that. So we click on the F8 tab, click on the first memory, which is number 0. Move to the bottom by scrolling or using the slider. Come over to the location for number 127, hold down the Shift key, and click. Everything's highlighted. Hit Control-C, then open up the tab for your target radio, select location 0's line so that it's highlighted, and hit Control-V. Everything that was in the Baofeng F8 is now in the UV5R's profile, but it's not in the radio yet, even though the radio is attached. Now, what we do is we come over here to radio. Now, remember I said I've left it plugged in to both the computer and the radio, the cable, and the radio is still on. I have not turned it off or disconnected it. So we're going to say upload to radio. Most of the time this will work. Occasionally it will give an error code. There was a stray Tron or something, and it'll throw an error. Just unplug it from the computer, turn the radio off, and start the process over. Just this last piece here. So, upload to the radio. We're going to click that, and we should see the little pop-up, COM3, Baofeng, and it's a UV5R. But see how these are grayed out? That's because this tab is a profile for that radio. The only thing that could change is the COM3 port, or the COM port. Click OK. You should get your cloning. And it showed an error. Radio did not respond. So we're going to click OK. I'm going to turn off the radio. I'm going to unplug the chip from the USB. I'm going to click on radio again. Click upload to radio. It's ready for us. Now I'm going to plug back into the computer with the chip and turn the radio on. Radio's on. Click OK. And now it's working. So you'll see that happen from time to time. Sometimes it works without resetting the radio. Sometimes it doesn't. You watch this proceed, and when it's done, your radio should flash. It'll reset itself, and then all these memories will be in your radio. Remember that the target radio has a limited amount of memory locations, and your data file could have many times as much data. Be sure the target radio has enough memory locations for what you're copying. Again, I would urge you to save the newly built data file. I'll be doing another chirp video on the individual settings for the memory locations, as well as going into the radio settings and changing some of the defaults. How to set the frequencies, inhibit transmissions on certain channels that you still want to be able to listen to, as well as preventing unwanted transmissions. So, if you like this video, please click like and or leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about my channel. This is KG7TUO, signing off.